The best things and the worst things about living in Kyle, Texas. Let's talk about that right now. Hi, I'm Josh Keller with Seven Springs Real Estate. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things Kyle. If you're interested in moving to Kyle or you live here and you want to keep up, just make sure you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Today we're talking about the pros and the cons of living in Kyle, Texas. And if you stick around to the end, there's 5 things that are very binary. Some people love them and some people hate them. We'll talk about those too. So let's start with the pros. First is, why do so many people live here? Whenever a town is growing, you gotta look at jobs and economy. Not only is Kyle close to Austin, which obviously has a great economy and offers lots of employment, it's also close to San Marcos and Texas State University, but Kyle's local government is also very passionate about creating jobs here in Kyle. There's lots of healthcare, which means lots of jobs, and a lot of businesses are relocating or starting branches here in Kyle. Second pro is it's so family friendly. Public safety is a huge priority of everyone involved in Kyle. When issues do pop up, the police are very involved and they're very accountable. Almost everyone I talk to feels like their neighborhood is one of the safest neighborhoods in the United States. Third pro people don't know about as much as I do. I'm very passionate about the vibe. Kyle has this plan to connect all its neighborhoods with this concrete path and then have all these nature trails going off of it. It's supposed to be ideal for kids to ride their bikes to school, and people can take e-bikes and golf carts or even roller skate from place to place. If you have any questions about the vibe, definitely let me know because I'm very passionate about this project. The fourth pro I've already talked about when I was talking about employment, but it's healthcare. There's lots of different urgent cares around, and it's very rare that you talk to someone who has to go into Austin to find a healthcare provider. Lots of different options for all kind of medical needs. And the fifth pro is it's relatively affordable. So what do I mean by relatively affordable? Everything with the real estate market is relative, but I'm talking about Austin. If you live in Austin, you're gonna pay a lot for whatever kind of house you're looking for, especially compared to the suburbs. Now let's just go south of Austin. In Buda, it's relatively cheaper than Austin, and then Kyle is usually a little bit cheaper than Buda. So if you wanna be in the Austin area and looking for something relatively affordable, family friendly, that's why Kyle is growing so quickly. So why is Kyle a little bit cheaper than Austin and Buda? Well, for that we have to look at the negatives. First con I'm going to talk about is traffic. A very high percentage of people who live in Kyle commute to Austin. This is not a fun commute. I've never had anyone say, oh, I love my drive from Kyle to Austin, which during morning rush hour could take anywhere from 30 minutes to hours. You do have an alternate route. You could head up 1626 to the Mopac extension and take that in, but as you would expect, that can get backed up as well. Not only is the highway traffic frustrating, but the local traffic is frustrating too. Kyle's just grown too quickly for the city to keep up with it. One of the reasons the Kyle downtown hasn't grown is because the traffic around is such a mess. The city does have a road bond and has plans to relieve this traffic. And one of the ways I believe we can relieve the traffic is by supporting the vibe. The vibe is not going to help with that highway traffic into Austin, but it could relieve some of that local traffic. You could picture people biking or taking some kind of electric vehicle to run errands, get groceries, drop kids off at their friend's house between neighborhoods. I believe it could solve some of Kyle's traffic problems, and it could create this really cool culture of people finding alternative ways to get around town. Second con is water. I just did a video explaining the water issue, how Kyle is running out of water and has to purchase water from San Marcos, and then the long-term solution of piping water in from an aquifer in East Texas. But already some of the restrictions have been lifted. So although Kyle is on the right track with water, it's still something residents need to be aware of. Kyle is low on water, they're purchasing it from other towns, and they do have some long-term solutions. It doesn't mean all the problems are solved though. People have to be aware of what Kyle might look like if this drought continues. The third con some people are very aware of and some people don't think of it very often at all. It's the division that I-35 has created. Any suburb of Austin has this natural divide created by the highway. On the west side it's just geographically different. There's more oak trees and more hills. West of Austin is known as the hill country. East of Austin is just as beautiful, but it just looks different. It's flatter, there's more cypress trees, it just has more grasslands. So with such obvious division, it's just human nature that people say, we're on this side and the other people are on the other side. This definitely bothers me, and I love when people look out for their entire community, not just this side or that side or this neighborhood or that neighborhood. One of the ways I hope Kyle can solve this is with the vibe. Yeah, you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this project. I've been talking to the city about ways to get over and under I-35 so people who live east could bike or take some kind of electronic transportation over or under 35 to run errands on the west side of Kyle. Same thing as the east develops, gets more trails, gets more parks, gets more businesses. People who live west don't have to get in their car. They can take the vibe from west to east. I would love if this idea of connecting over and under the highway creates this sense of unity within Kyle. I know some city officials feel the same, so I'm really optimistic and anticipating that this idea can catch on. So we have the positives, the negatives, and now here's the 5 things in the middle that are divisive, and some people love them and some people hate them. First is the restaurants. For the most part, this is very positive right now, but a few years ago, this was a big negative. There were a few great local places, but as Kyle grew, most people feel like there were not many options to take your family to go eat. Also, not many places to go meet up with friends or go out on a date. But in the last year or two, the restaurant scene has exploded. Much people see this improvement and are much happier with Kyle's restaurant scene. But the complaint is there's not much local. There are those few places that have been around for a very long time, but when you compare it to places in Austin and even viewed as Main Street, Kyle is definitely lacking that local food culture that makes towns unique. Since a lot of people do see this as a problem, they want to make it better. So there is a lot of movement towards supporting local restaurants and businesses. All right, second divisive thing. Does Kyle have a lot of stuff to do? A lot of families would say yes, there's a lot to do with your kids. There are parks. The parks and trails are okay, but they're getting a lot better. There are a lot of local sports leagues, and there are a lot of family-friendly events like we talked about at the beginning. But to get really good hiking, to find great swimming holes, to find fun activities that are just a little bit more unique, you usually have to go into Austin or down to San Marcos. As Kyle grows, there will be more and more opportunities for fun things to do. But right now, we're kind of in that growing phase where if you can find something in Kyle, that's great. For a lot of things, you have to drive into Austin or San Marcos. Third divisive thing is grocery shopping. Some people love the gigantic H-E-B, the super H-E-B. It's great if you want to pick up a can of beans and some tortillas, but also buy a big screen TV. They have everything in there. They have clothing. You can get your Christmas shopping done in H-E-B. But a lot of people are bothered because it's so big and it's so crowded and you can't get in and out in a few minutes. Just to walk across the parking lot seems to take 5 minutes. So Kyle is working on getting more grocery stores. A Sprouts is about to open. But for people who love to buy local and have some non-H-E-B options, this could be seen as a negative. Fourth divisive issue is HOAs. Kyle has a lot of HOAs. Some people like this because they see the benefits. HOAs offer amenities. It often results in home values going up, but with all these benefits come the rules and restrictions, which some people hate. If you have any questions on HOAs and you want specific details on a certain neighborhood, just call or comment and we'll make sure we address those. All right, the fifth reason it's really great, or maybe not so great to live in Kyle, is its proximity to Austin, San Marcos, and San Antonio. If you look at everything these cities have to offer, it just creates so much to do and such a great place to live and especially raise kids. You can go into Austin to experience their downtown and their culture. You can go down to San Marcos, which has this great river culture, and Texas State University. And you can even go down to San Antonio, which my kids love to go to the Six Flags Fiesta Texas and experience so much of the culture that San Antonio has to offer too. But with being located between all these cities, it just creates a lot of traffic. And this drives people crazy. Planning a day trip to Austin or San Antonio could result in sitting in gridlock for hours. So people are always routinely checking the traffic on their phone before they leave. It's just become a way of life. So you can see there's lots of benefits and there's always the drawbacks of a city that's growing so fast. If you think I missed anything, please comment below, positives or negatives. If you haven't, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.